Welcome to the Pink Pill RX podcast, hosted by Katie and Jay Fillmore, where we navigate complex and thought-provoking subjects surrounding women with a focus on education. For shorter form content, follow us on TikTok at Caters88.
That is KATORS88.
If you enjoy this podcast, please give us a follow.
Here we go.
Here we go, number 8.
Okay, we got to talk about something that we don't want to talk about.
Yeah, I've been kind of disassociating from it.
The impending TikTok ban. So they lost in the Court of Appeals, which means it's going to go to the Supreme Court. But as of right now, TikTok will not be accessible to Americans as of January 19th.
I think it's the 19th or after the 19th. I can't remember which one. But Inauguration Day, no one's going to be able to use it.
I feel like that's a little sus.
It is a little sus. It feels a little dystopian. Anyway.
So what are we going to do because of the TikTok ban that could be happening? Well, we have started pushing content out on YouTube, Instagram, and I am looking into Blue Sky. The problem with Blue Sky is it only allows 60-second videos. Almost all of my videos are longer than that. I know that a lot of people are flocking to Blue Sky. I don't necessarily want to support meta platforms. I just don't know what to do. YouTube has a feature called Shorts, which I've been posting in quite a bit. It seems like a good fit for our content as far as the duration that it allows and the context that it allows. Like it's a scroll through similar to Reels and similar to TikToks. You can find us on those platforms by searching Caters88, KATORS88, or Pink Pill RX.
We're going to miss people if we don't have people that follow us after TikTok's
know.
gone.
I'm going to miss talking about this stuff.
Yeah. And I'm going to miss the comments. And I don't respond to a lot of the comments or heart a lot of the comments, but I read a lot of the comments.
Okay, so that's where you can find us.
Please come find us.
Please. Well, we're going to miss you. We will continue to do this podcast as well.
Yes.
So continue to like, share, subscribe, etc.
Comment.
Please.
Talk about.
Give us some feedback, guys.
Yeah, give us some email us.
Yes. Our email is katieandjfillmore, FILLMORE, @gmail.com.
Please, 2 L's.
Yes, it's 2 L's.
My students would always do 1 L when I was a teacher.
Yes.
You know who you are.
People want to spell it PHIL.
I know. And you know what? I get it.
I don't get it.
I think there's
that would not be my go-to.
There was a show called Fillmore with a PH about a duck or something.
There was a president.
Yeah, but he kind of sucked.
It doesn't matter.
And he's obscure.
We've all learned it.
Yeah. Millard.
Yeah, Millard. No relation to our knowledge.
There's a famous music venue in California, too, I think, called the Fillmore.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a PH or an F, though.
Yeah.
Not sure. Anyway, we're going to try and do some different segments on our podcast. Some cool little reoccurring segments that we enjoy and we think that listeners would enjoy. Now it's time for one of our segments. It's time for
History with Jay.
And I've got a really cool one for today. I'm probably going to mispronounce her name. So it's a French name. You know, I'm half French. You'd think I'd be able to possibly pronounce this better. Jeanne de Clisson. That wasn't that bad. So Jeanne, which I'm just going to say it like that for now, she lived from 1300 to 1359 in France. So get the visual.
That was a rough time.
Yeah, not a lot probably changed. There's 100 years war going on between France and England during that time. I picture a lot of clouds and just like eating gruel. She, in 1330, married Oliver IV de Clisson. Now, this was her third husband. The second one was annulled with something. I think the first husband died. And it seems like they got along. Like, I watched a few different TikToks about it and read online about her, and it sounds like their relationship was pretty good.
So she's 3 husbands deep in the 1300s.
Yeah.
Man, already that she's seen some rough stuff, guarantee that.
Yep, and she has kids from previous marriage.
Wow.
She had to take Oliver to court to make sure he'd provide for her 2 kids.
In the 1300s?
Yeah, you know what? I should look into more. How did that work when her as a woman is trying to go to court against her husband? She won, though.
What?
Yeah, I didn't look that. This is not the point of the story, so I didn't look into it. But yeah, she won. Anyway, he did right by the kids. I don't know why she had to take him to court for it. Anyway, so she's 30 years old
Okay.
when she gets married to Oliver. And he's like, he's a nobleman.
That's like geriatric for the 1300s.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't live nearly as long.
No, you didn't.
It was a rough, especially if you were in Europe. Now he was had a command under him, and this is when the 100 Years' War is going on. And in 1342, the English captured him, and somehow he was able to negotiate his release, or somebody did. But then the French king, his king, was a little sus about him now because he got released by the English. So the French king executed him.
Oliver.
Displayed his head on a pike.
No.
And then Jean made sure her two kids, like they were there, made them put their heads up and look at him, like his head, to remember what was done to him. Okay? And then she vowed revenge against the French king and all those who were involved. She vowed it. So she sold her estate. She's a noble person. Sold her estate, all of her land, all of her possessions. Used that money to raise a small army of 400 men.
Whoa.
Yeah, raised a small army.
This is like Game of Thrones.
These are soldiers. These are knights, and these are soldiers.
Yeah.
Okay. Then she starts attacking places. She attacks this castle of Charles de Blois or something like that. Was the first one that she did. So she starts attacking castles. She basically finds noble people who were somehow involved with her husband's execution. And she gets led in to some of these places because they know her. And then she goes in with her 400 men, slaughters everybody every time, but always leaves one alive. So they can say who it was that did it.
Oh my gosh.
That it was Jean looking for revenge. French king's not happy about it. Eventually, I think because they start going after her, she pivots her strategy. She buys a fleet of ships. And now some sources say there were 3 merchant ships that then she converted to be more like warships.
Do you know how expensive it is to have like a navy? It's the most expensive branch of military.
Oh, that makes sense. So she has black with red sails that say the Black Fleet. Then she she allies with the English king now.
Because the English king let go Oliver, right?
Yeah, and he's at war with the French king.
Okay.
So she goes to the English king, becomes an ally with the English king, and then she sails in the waters in the English Channel between England and France. And basically, she will pew-pew any French ships that are in that channel. And then the involved nobles that she would capture, she would behead them herself. She's boss. I feel like, oh, you are really like magnanimous. She gained a nickname, the Lioness of Brittany, because she was from Brittany. Okay. Now you got to hear about her ending.
Okay.
This is one of my favorite parts. She retired
What?
from doing this. Never captured, never killed her. She just stopped. Whether she felt like she got enough revenge or she just got tired, she stopped. And then she retired to Brittany, and she lived the rest of her life. She did this for 13 years. She retired to Brittany, and then she devoted the rest of her life to charity and helping the poor, and died peacefully. Now, there is one more thing I will say about her. Towards the beginning, because when I read this, it said that she continued doing this 13 years after this incident took place, is that the French sunk her flagship. And her and her 2 sons were adrift for 5 days.
Okay, so her children were involved.
Yes, yeah, to some degree. Her and her 2 sons were adrift for 5 days, and one of them died.
How old was this woman at this point?
I don't know. Well, I know that he was executed in 1343. I'm assuming that's around the time she started, so she would have been 43. And
Guys, best years of your life are ahead of you after 40.
And then she did 13 years. This is rough. I'm not a historian. There's a few TikToks out there by more like historian-like people. She keeps going for 13 years, and then I guess she retires, and that would have put her about 1356. So she retires at 56.
I wonder if she got anything from the English king.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes, it is
Jeez.
crazy.
Just the most hardcore.
She's a pirate.
Yeah, she was a pirate.
But she decided that on that career later in life.
Yes. She pivoted around the age of 43.
Wait. When was he
Was he executed? 1343.
Okay, she remarried.
Oh, after that, she did.
She remarried an English knight.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
Yeah, he was English.
And a close advisor to the king.
Well, there you go.
And that solidified her ties to the English crown. You're not going to tell me that was not a strategic move.
Oh, I think 100%. Everything she did seems to be strategic.
Oh, yeah. And she sent one of her sons to be raised in the English court. And he became a companion of the son of King Edward.
Oh.
And this connection further cemented the family's relationship with the English monarch.
Yeah, she was... What I don't get is how does she retire in Brittany, which is in France, and no one went after her? She lived there for 3 years till she died at the age of 59, helping the poor and stuff.
Do you think they were intimidated? Here's the other thing.
Maybe.
When she retired from piracy, they say that it's likely that she continued to receive financial support and political backing from the English crown.
Oh, that would make sense then.
So I wonder if she was protected somehow.
Yeah. I mean, it was during the 100 Years' War. There's a lot of stuff going on between those two countries.
King Edward III respected and recognized her strategic value and relied on her counsel and influence, even when she retired from active combat.
Wow. Good for Edward.
You know what? That's very
that.
Progressive.
Yeah.
Edward. Thank you for sharing the history.
You're welcome. History
I loved it.
Is lovely.
We're going to move on to something that isn't lovely and that unfortunately isn't history. We're going to talk about some current events.
It's future history.
Future history. This was one that has been requested several times. We're going to talk about teen pregnancy.
Okay.
And teen girls. 3 in 10 teen American girls will get pregnant at least once before the age of 20.
Wow, that's a lot higher than I would have thought.
Yeah, it's about 1 in 3.3 girls, basically. And it accounts for about 750,000 teen pregnancies every year in the United States.
Wow, that's a higher rate than I would have thought.
In 2020, roughly 15% of live births to 15 to 19-year-olds were at least the second child born to the mother.
Say that one more time.
Yeah, let that sink in. 15% of babies born to 15 to 19-year-olds were the second child born to the mother.
Wow. Gosh, that is so hard. That is so hard.
Here's the thing. There's a disparity between teen moms and teen dads. Meaning there's more teen moms than there are teen dads.
Because they don't state it.
Why do you think?
I can think of one of two ways, and I hope it's the first one, not the second one. The first one, I would guess that the dad is not involved or doesn't know or chooses not to be involved or whatever. So they're not reported as a teen dad because they're not involved. Or the dads are not teenagers.
Ding, ding, ding.
How bad is it?
Adult fathers 20 years or older were responsible for 26.7% of births to very young adolescent mothers under 15 years old at conception.
Oh my gosh. This is all statutory rape.
It is.
All of it. All 26 whatever percent you said.
So for girls who gave birth by the age of 15, 39% of the fathers were between 20 and 29 years old.
Oh my God, this is gross. This is crazy.
Well, and then you think about the fact that 15% of births to teen mothers are the second child.
Yeah. Oh.
These women are being victimized over and over again, even though they don't consider themselves victims, I'm sure. But anyways, this percentage increased to 53% for girls who had given birth by the age of 17. So 53% of men were ages 20 to 29 and when the mom gave birth by the age of 17.
So really conception was like at 16.
Yeah.
for most of those cases.
I mean, for a lot of those cases, sure. But regardlessly, 17, I mean, there's such a difference between even 17 and 20.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm not discounting anything. I'm just putting more numbers out there.
The mean age difference between very young adolescent mothers and adult fathers is about 8.8 years.
Oh! Oh my, where are the parents?
Obviously, this raises concerns, so many concerns, including just like the power balance between somebody that much older than you and you.
Yeah.
And then you have a baby, and then you're connected to them.
Mm-hmm. And more dependent.
Yes, more dependent. And what did you say this was technically?
Statutory rape?
Statutory rape. Well, guess what? There's a get out of jail free card for that. And it's called marriage.
Say more.
I will say more. Between 2000 and 2018, there was 300,000 child marriages in the United States. 10 to 20% occurred at an age or spousal age difference that should be considered a sex crime. A 2021 study analyzing marriage certificate data from all 50 states found that approximately 86% of these underage marriages involved girls and 14% involved boys. So it's majority girls that are experiencing this. This is the age distribution of child brides. 96% were 16 or 17 years old, 4% were 15 years old, and then less than 1% were 12 years old or younger. Although cases involving very young children as young as 10 have been documented. Now, the good news is the number of child marriages is decreasing. So in 2000, it was 76,000 and some change. In 2018, it dropped down to about 2,500. But still, we're talking about 2,500 children being married to usually adult men that otherwise would be convicted for statutory rape. Child marriage remains legal technically in 37 states as of June 2024.
Wait. So you can't legally consent to being married, though?
No. So who consents for
the
you?
Parents?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Usually very religious
I was
parents.
going to say, I'm guessing there's some type of religion involved.
Usually it's a religious thing. There's 13 states that have moved forward with technically banning like underage marriages without exception, with Delaware being the first to do so. And there's no age limit like to who she can be married to.
She can be
sometimes
like a
these guys
guy.
are, sometimes they're,
Oh my gosh.
Delaware was the first to ban child marriage. You want to guess what year they did that?
I'm going to guess in the 2000s based off of the stats. 2001?
2018.
Oh!
The first state
That is so backwards.
banned child
What
marriage.
the heck?
So Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, New York, and Rhode Island have banned child marriage by establishing a minimum age of 18 and requiring official proof of age to obtain marriage licenses. Apparently, in some of these states, you don't need official proof of age, which is one of the loopholes that can technically be exploited. Now there's states with very lenient laws, such as California.
California?
California keeps popping up, and you respond to that every time in that exact tone.
Because I think they're like one of the most progressive states. You would think that they would be doing more social things like this.
California, Mississippi, New Mexico, Oklahoma, and Washington have no legally enforced minimum age for marriage.
Oh.
What does this do? Well, it produces destination states for child marriage.
Oh, you go there to get married?
That's what you do.
And then you have a marriage certificate from that state, so then you go to a different state and you're already married?
Yes, exactly. So Missouri historically has been the destination state for child marriages, with individuals crossing state lines to marry 15-year-old brides. Gosh. Some have traveled to Missouri to do this from as far away as Oregon, Idaho, Utah, and Florida.
It's crazy.
So
it's abhorrent.
Yeah, the practice of child marriage is very much rooted in conservative or religious beliefs surrounding premarital sexuality and pregnancy. So what will happen is these girls will be either sexually active, or they'll get pregnant, or an older man will be very, very attracted to them, and coerce the parents.
Oh.
As you can imagine, because of the power dynamic issues and just the circumstances of the marriage, child marriage has a very, very high rate of abuse.
Oh, yeah, I can only imagine.
Girls married before age 15 are almost 50% more likely to experience physical or sexual intimate partner violence. Even those between the ages of 15 and 18 report high rates of physical and sexual abuse during their marriages. There's obviously emotional and financial abuse because they can't even have a bank account, man.
Yeah. Yeah, you're totally dependent.
Totally dependent.
Probably no longer in school. You're not going to have education to be able to get
right. So it
job
decreases education, domestic violence increases, mental health problems increase, high school and college dropouts, and it leads to poverty. 80% of child marriages eventually end in divorce. However, in a lot of states you can't get a divorce if you're under 18 because you're a minor.
But you can get married?
But you can get married with parental consent.
No.
Which means you need parental consent to get divorced.
Oh my God.
Once these girls are married, they're locked in until they are at least 18 years old, unless their parents
get them out. But they're probably the ones who got them in.
They are the ones that got them in. Well, they are the ones that got them in.
Yeah. Yeah, they are the ones who got them in.
So in the majority of states, you have to typically be 18 to have the ability to file or initiate legal proceedings on your own.
You can't even hire an attorney? Well, she can't hire anybody.
No, she
doesn't
can't
have a job.
hire.
She can't control her own money. She probably doesn't have any money of her own.
Exactly. In most states, minors cannot file for divorce without acting through a guardian or other legal representative, like I was saying. And this legal setup effectively puts the lock in wedlock for many underage spouses, forcing them to remain in marriages they may wish to leave until they reach the age. Because you didn't enter that marriage fully independently. You had parental consent. So you need parental consent to get out of it. So in a lot of cases, these child marriages, they cover up the statutory rape, with about 60,000 marriages since 2000 occurring at an age or spousal age difference that should have been considered statutory rape. In 88% of the cases, the marriage license acted as a get out of jail free card for the adult spouse, exempting them from prosecution for statutory rape. Sex inside of marriage cannot be a crime. Like, that's the state law.
Mm-hmm. That's a problem too. That's a problem in and of itself.
Now, it can be a crime if it's forced rape and you have proof that you had a violent encounter.
That's got to be so hard to prove, though.
But you have to prove you had a violent encounter.
Yeah.
Otherwise, sex within marriage is free for all.
It's unbelievable the way that what's legal. It's unbelievable. Yeah. So backwards. You think our country's been around over 250 years. You would think we would have done away with these loopholes and things.
Child marriage in the United States, has been used for this for a long time. Due to these legal loopholes, they're able to do that. And there's a marital exemption in statutory rape laws in 33 states, which says that sex within marriage cannot be a crime.
That's got to be changed.
As of June 2024, 13 states and 2 U.S. territories have banned child marriage without exception, setting the minimum age for marriage at 18. These states are Delaware, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Minnesota, Rhode Island, New York, Massachusetts, Vermont, Connecticut, Michigan, Washington, Virginia, New Hampshire.
No Illinois, huh?
No Illinois. And like I said, Delaware was the first in 2018.
These are all it needs to be federal. It has to be federal. Otherwise, you're going to have destination states all the time.
That's the thing. And the federal government will not talk on it, and they will not pass legislation about it.
I wonder if legally it's because the 10th Amendment in the Bill of Rights that states anything not explicitly given to the federal government in terms of powers are then reserved for the states.
There was a federal ruling on same-sex marriage, so I don't see why they can't do a federal ruling. But they won't, and that is a little sus.
Yes, like they're protected, like things that Congress doesn't rule on usually or doesn't legislate. I tend to think, because you benefit from it
somehow,
like in stock trading, term limits.
So based on data from Unchained at Last, which is a child marriage advocacy group, the 10 states with the highest per capita rates of child marriage between 2000 and 2018 are Nevada coming in at number 1, baby.
Well,
Idaho, Arkansas, Kentucky, Oklahoma, Wyoming, Utah, Alabama, West Virginia, and Mississippi. It's even worse on a global level. I just want to mention this. Child marriage is 1 in 5 girls. So 19% of girls worldwide are married before the age of 18. But at the present day global trajectory, it will take 300 years to end child marriage globally.
oh,
And this is why we have had conversations about climate change before and how it disproportionately affects women. And child marriage is one of the ways that it disproportionately affects them. They get married off for safety reasons. They get married off for economic reasons. Everything's so interconnected. If you worked on global warming, a side effect of that would be decreased child marriages globally.
because then you wouldn't have climate change economically affecting places and robbing places of certain securities, which then push families to marry off their daughters.
Yes, and displacing families from these massive mudslides and flooding and drought. That would decrease. It would make a significant impact on child bride marriages that are not done due to religious purposes, but are done due to
Other factors.
safety and economic purposes. So child bride rates are the highest in South Asia, which is 45%.
Oh my gosh.
And then West and Central Africa, 33% of them are there. And then you got Latin America and the Caribbean, which are 23%. And conflict also, war-torn countries as well have high child bride rates.
Because their parents have them get married so they are taken care of in their minds? Or do they need the money for like a dowry or something?
All of the above. 2 to 3 states a year have passed legislation to ban child marriage. And if we continue to go at the rate that we're going, it will take around 15 years to ban child marriage in all 50 states.
So children who are born now could still be in 15 years becoming child brides.
Correct. And it be perfectly legal. Because as long as one state it's legal,
They're all going to go to that state.
exactly. So 37 states still allow child marriages in some form because there's loopholes and stuff like that. But 13 states are no tolerance.
You probably have things that like where men will kidnap girls, take them to another state where you don't need to have age verification.
Okay, here are the states that do not require age verification for marriage, meaning they have no minimum legal age for marriage in these states. So they don't ask for it apparently.
Okay.
In these states, minors can marry without a specified minimum age, although parental consent or judicial approval may be required in some cases for individuals that appear to be young.
Yeah, appear to be.
This lack of regulation raises a lot of concerns about potential exploitation and forced marriages involving minors. So here are the states. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Number 6, Washington. Number 5, Michigan. Number 4, Oklahoma. Number 3, New Mexico. Number 2, Mississippi. Number 1, California.
California.
Every time.
What?
So you do not need to prove how old you are to get married there.
Gosh, and California is so progressive on other things, particularly climate and like even building materials,
Yeah.
but not with this. Like that makes no sense because usually progressives are more about social protections.
We have seen time and time again that California is not a leader.
No, not at all. You'd think they would be. I'm looking at California differently now. My family's from California, I should say, so that the audience knows.
All that to say, we got a lot of work to do as a country and as a global community to protect children. In case that wasn't obvious to people already.
Unbelievable.
It is
The lack of protection for children, specifically girls. Unbelievable. I have 4 girls. And Illinois is on the list that has a ban on that.
No, so I mean, obviously,
They would
we
need-
would never give permission
No, gosh, no.
for our child to get married underage.
No, but I'd be worried about like a trafficking type scenario where your kid gets taken to another state without the requirement to like of proof of age or age verification. Then they get married in another, like I can't even go down. That's just horrifying to me. It's horrifying.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us this week. On that note, sorry. Get yourself some Aquafresh toothpaste.
Is there any is there anything that your layperson can do about that other than just like hounding the congressman?
You're calling your congressman, calling your senators, calling your reps, calling all those people.
Yeah. Especially your state senators and your state reps.
Exactly.
Versus federal.
Because, yes, I should have specified that. Yes, state level.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I want to reach out to our representative.
Unchained at Last is a great resource for information on child brides and current laws and legislation. So huge shout out to them for all the research they've done and all the time that they've spent trying to make this a thing of history and not a thing of current events.
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and wrap it up for the day. Thank you so much for being here with us.
I hope people listening, something was intriguing or it sparked curiosity or you felt affirmed or challenged. Stay educated. Take the pink pill. If you enjoyed this podcast, please give us a follow. For shorter form content, follow us on TikTok at Caters88.